Welcome to a rather special episode of the Top Lines and Tails podcast, and as always we'd like to thank our sponsors and partners Harbro for their continued support. And this week we're coming live from the National Ploughing Championships in Ireland, and let me just give you a little bit overview about the National Ploughing Championships. It isn't just a ploughing match now, it's probably, if not the biggest agricultural event in Europe. But let's give you a little bit of history about it from what I could find. And the first inter-county ploughing contest took place back in 1931 as a bit of a bet. It's the result of an argument between two friends, Dennis Allen of Gorey, County Wexford, and Jay Bergin of Assay in County Kildare. And each said that their county had the best ploughman. So eventually a wager was laid down on the 16th of February 1931. The first ploughing contest took place there in Courstown. And since then, the National Ploughing Championship has grown in size year on year, mainly with the addition of trade stands, some agricultural, some not. And it's expanded from requiring a small field of 26 acres now to needing over 700 acres of land to run this. And it rotates around the country, different places each year, and the planning that goes into these, and the organisation that goes into this event is second to none. And the site now requires 180 acres for the ploughing, 100 acres for trade stands and exhibition space, 400 acres of car park, and the demonstration area covers another 25 acres. So a huge event there. Everybody in Ireland seems to know about it. It's on the radio, it's on the news, it's a huge event there, and they get somewhere in the region of 300,000 people. That's 100,000 people per day, which is probably double the size of most of the other shows in Europe, and people turn up there rain or shine, and the police, the Garda there in Ireland, manage the road networks, allowing cars to come in and cars to go out there, keeping the traffic flowing. It's logistically a huge thing to do to get 100,000 people per day into a farm. Those of you in Ireland who have been to Ireland will understand that the weather is sometimes a little bit inclement, to say the least, but I arrived there on the first morning. The weather was grand. It had a bit of rain, and then in the afternoon of the first day and through the first night there, it rained very heavily, but that made conditions great for the ploughing. It damped all the dust, and it certainly didn't damp anybody's spirits. Top Lines and Tails podcast, as you know, is very much livestock orientated, so we're not there for the ploughing, although we'll have a look at it. I am there to help and run a podcast and do the commentary on the Growvite All-Ireland Aberdeen-angus Championships. So this is the championship for all the Aberdeen-angus cattle in Ireland to turn up and compete in one place, and this year it's been invited to be held at this ploughing match. So now I'm going to go live to the event, and you'll find a little bit more about what's going on. Today I'm coming to you live from Ireland, from the All-Ireland Ploughing Match, and more to the point, I'm coming to you from the Aberdeen-angus, All-Ireland Angus Championship, should I say, is something that is competed for every year. A fantastic trophy, fantastic show of livestock here, and I'm having a quick chat with the judge who's over from Scotland there, so I've got Ewen Campbell. Ewen, good morning.
Hi Andy, how are you doing? Pleased to be here.
And you've come all the way over from Fort William. It's a big honour to be judging the All-Ireland.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm just blown away by the whole setup here, the ploughing. I've never seen anything like it. It's like ice show on steroids, isn't it?
It really is. It's one of the biggest shows in Europe, and we'll have a tour around the show a little bit later. But yeah, fantastic show with the ploughing and everybody in Ireland. I think 300,000 people here as well, so we'll get a few spectators around the ring in a minute, I suppose, just to cheer you on.
Yeah, no pressure, right. It's looking like it's going to be pretty impressive. I think they've got nearly 100 cattle, so looking forward to it very much.
And the cup here I can see in front of us, I'll put some photographs out there. What a monumental piece of silverware that is. Goes back to 1904, so some history there.
Yeah, that's lift it up there, it weighs a ton. Probably as impressive a piece of silverware as I've seen for a long time.
Well, you'll look forward to presenting that later on today. Ewan, nice to have a chat to you, and hope you enjoy your day.
Thank you, Andy. We'll see you later.
When I had a few spare moments, I went out and about, and the first man I bumped into was Cathal O'Meara. Now I'm talking to a man I've spoken to before. How you doing, fella?
Very good, Andy, and yourself?
I'm good, thank you. You're out here busy at work. I went to disturb you. They dressing up a young bull there, ready for the young bull class. And what tell us about this?
Yeah, he's a September bull belonging to Malachy Ty. He won the ABP Bull of the Future a couple of weeks ago, and he was champion there, Interbreed champion, and beat all the Continentals. So he has a good chance today, hopefully, Andy.
And Malachy's over here. Malachy, have you managed to spend all that prize money yet? I gather you had a fairly big haul that day, did you, sir?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, we won $4,000 that day, so it was nice to get it. You don't get it too often, but it's nice when you win it.
Well, a cracking young bull as well. I wish you luck with it. We'll see you later, okay?
Thank you.
Cheers. And before the event gets going, I'm going to have a quick word with the man of the moment, the man who organises all these things, Shane Murphy. Shane, you've been on the podcast before. Welcome back.
Thank you very much for having me, and thanks very much for coming over. We're delighted to see you over to do MC for today.
Well, that's right. MC been thrust on microphone, so as well as doing this, I'm going to be doing the commentary on the cattle classes as well. And what like of the cattle? Are you showing yourself this time?
Not showing myself this time. So I have the Harper, the last year's fella lined up for the extravaganza. So he's only a baby, so I thought I might just take too much out of him. But it really is top notch here today. There's exhibitors from all over the country, and there's prize winners from local shows, national shows, and it could be anyone's.
Yeah.
It could be anyone's.
And the All Ireland every year goes to a different place, but this is quite special, isn't it, for the All Ireland this year?
Yeah, so we're at the National Ploughing Championships. So last year there would have been a shortage of cattle at it, and we worked closely with the National Ploughing Association to bring livestock back, because it's what the spectators wanted. So we worked hard, and there's 110 of the best Aberdeen-angus cattle in the country here. Well, brilliant. Well, I wish you luck, and I hope that the show goes smoothly there, and I'll take this hat off and put my other one back on, and we'll have a chat later on with you, Shane, when it's done. And of course, an event like this would go off without the money that's put behind from our sponsors, and quite a few sponsors have sponsored the All Ireland, but the main sponsors are Univet, and I've got Mark O'Rourke with me from Univet there, and tell us a little bit more about sort of how you look after the Angus Society on these events.
I suppose we've been involved with the Irish Aberdeen-angus Association for many years now. We were just chatting earlier on. We think it's probably heading for definitely 30 plus years at this stage, and so we have a long-term relationship with them, and we're very grateful for their support as well for our products. And look, as sponsors, it's nice to give something back. But as I say, we've made many friends over the years, sponsoring it, coming to the ploughing as well, and but sponsoring for that length of time as well. As I say, we've made many friends.
Well, fantastic. Well, thanks very much for your sponsorship in this. We'll maybe get a chat later on when you've handed out some money to some of these exhibitors here and that great big trophy that goes with it.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to a great show today as well. There's a great entry, and we see all the work that's going on at the moment in preparing the animals for the show. So if you're coming to the ploughing today, come and visit the Irish Aberdeen-angus stand and have a look at the show taking place. I think the finals are expected to take place around 3 in the afternoon, so we're expecting a big crowd for that as well. We're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll look forward to it too. Thanks very much for speaking to me.
Cheers.
And at that stage, I was handed the proper microphone and carried on for the next 4 or 5 hours there, doing the commentary for the Cattle Championships, which was absolutely superb, and I really enjoyed it. I did shout out on the microphone a few times to the other sponsors, and it would be remiss of me not to mention them on this podcast. So as well as Univet there sponsoring with their Growvite All Ireland Championships, there was Zurich Insurance, Angus Beef Ireland, Arc Animal Care, Dairy Direct, Listduff Exports, and Greenvale Animal Feeds. All those guys also put their money and time behind sponsoring this event. So although I tried to be 2 places at once and do 2 things at once, on this occasion it was impossible to record a podcast while I was there with the microphone commentating on the event as it went on live through the morning and through into the early afternoon. But when the judging was over, I got to have another chat with the judge and with this year's overall winner, a rather delighted Bernard Kerins. I'm with the winner now, Bernard Kerins. Bernard, how does it feel to be All Ireland champion?
Unreal.
Yeah.
Absolutely unreal.
How many times have you been exhibiting at this event?
Oh, I don't know, we're exhibiting well over 20 years.
And first time you've won it?
First time, yeah.
Excellent.
We came close before 2015 with her mother as a heifer in Cork. She was reserve supreme champion, and Albert de Cogan was judging that day.
Okay.
And that was the nearest we came. So.
Yeah, and you got in front of Albert today. One of Albert's animals are right there in the ring.
Absolutely,
that you got to beat
and he was always a hard man to beat.
So well done to do that. And just tell us a bit about the cow.
The cow is 7 years old. She was a twin. She's bred off Luddenmore Fionn and an Ino Rossiter Eric cow. Okay. And
I know Rossiter Eric, he goes back a long way then he does.
Yeah, he was in Wedgerley and bred very well, bred great females, milky cows, and they were always lucky for us.
Yeah, okay, no, a tremendous cow and a tremendous calf. And you told me what the calf was by again?
The calf is by Bova Bull Ballyair Trade Secret.
Okay.
She was born on St. Patrick's Day this year.
So decent calf as well. Calf, it makes up the outfit, doesn't it, when the cow's breeding?
Yeah,
as well?
the cow has bred our show heifers for the last 3 years.
Yeah, there you go. That proves
and we sold a daughter to Portugal there last December.
Right.
So yeah, she's really doing the business. No doubt about it.
Fantastic. Have you flushed her at all?
No, but she will be flushed now, yeah.
There you go, the All-Ireland champion. It helps to sell him, doesn't it? Well, congratulations, Bernard. I hope we get a dram later on today.
Thanks very much, Andy.
Cheers. And I'm back with Ewan now. Ewan, I spoke to you this morning before the judging, and then I spoke to you a little bit during the judging when I got a microphone and giving you a little bit of stick there in the ring. But you were out there enjoying yourself, I think, in the judging ring of the All-Ireland finals.
Yeah, it's a pleasure doing a job like that. You know, you growing up at home there, going to shows from when you're a kid, the Highland Show and all these things. You know, you want to be in the centre of that ring, getting the opportunity to do what I did today, and I just had a ball.
Yeah.
You know.
Certainly looked like you were enjoying yourself out there, and the quality of cattle. Well, I don't. You can tell me what the quality of cattle like.
Yeah, phenomenal. You know, proper Angus cattle. You know, with character, flesh and ability, cattle that are going to work hard for you, and well shown, well brought out. Yeah, an absolute credit to the exhibitors here today.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier on you're looking for animals that would compete, that would survive in your part of the world, a bit harsher part of the world where you are up there in Fort William, and you picked out a few animals to suit that job. I was over at last year at the Extravaganza, and I realised how good the cattle quality of the cattle here is in Ireland, and it is exceptional, isn't it? They've got some great Angus cattle over here.
Oh yeah, fantastic cattle, and you know, meaty, good shapes on them. I mean, you know, you were saying there about whether these cattle would survive in our part of the world. They would. I mean, some of them were maybe a bit bigger than I would have normally gone for, but you know, when they're big and they're good, it's hard to go past them.
Sure.
You know, and you know, these big cows at the end there that were winning, working hard. You know, good calves with them, doing what an Angus female should be doing.
And I was just talking to Bernard Kerins that you put champion there, and a 7-year-old cow, and it's still doing the job.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. I mean, you know, the way to make money out of cattle is to keep the replacement level down. Cows that go and calf every year and as I say, work hard, and that cow has ticked all these boxes, and at the same time, you know, she's got this phenomenal Angus head, great big lugs on her, great, you know, even at this time of year, a bit of hair on her, so right up my street.
Excellent. Well, it's great to speak to you. We're going to have a drink now, so I'll probably edit that bit out, but I might not. And later in the day, I caught up with the well-known Richard and Carol Retty, who were there dressing a team of cattle. You're a Scotsman here in Ireland, and you're a man who's had cattle all over the place. And what likes the cattle of here in Ireland?
Yeah, there's been a good show of cattle. There are different types, slightly smaller, easier fleshed, I would suggest, than we have at home. But there's a lot of good cattle, very correct, and a lot of character in them. A lot more traditional, beautiful heads, and a bit more style in them.
Okay, and your reason for being here is that you'd auctioned yourself or your business as a day dressing cattle for somebody, and these guys bought that out?
Well, nearly, yeah. They were underbidders, but they seem to have got us here under some pretences. I'm not quite sure what. But yeah, we're here just help for the day and then back home tomorrow. Okay, now and a great bunch of cattle you've had for 2 or 3 people, and come up with a lot of prices as well. Yeah, we've had a great show. Yeah. Reserve in the juniors, so we've had a good day. Yeah, excellent, and a good show of cattle. Well, it's great to see you, and I've been trying to get you on a podcast for a while. You're never going to speak to me, but this is the nearest I've got to get now. Well, maybe one day.
And Carol's here as well. So Carol, just what's it like being here in Ireland? They looking after you?
Oh, we've thoroughly enjoyed it. So well looked after. It's been good crack. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
The whiskey's good.
The whiskey's good. Excellent. Well, great to speak to the pair of you. Thank you. It's very difficult to capture the spirit of a live cattle event, but needless to say, the people around the ring and the atmosphere was spectacular during that Growvite All-Ireland Championships. And on day 2, I returned to the event again. There then were demonstrations where the animals were taken around the ring. Shane Murphy took over the microphone and was entertaining the crowd by telling them all about those animals, and a huge interest. And also we had a demonstration from the YDP, so the Youth Development Programme, of which we'll have more of later on in this podcast series. And there was also a cattle dressing demonstration given by the very capable John Smith and James Morrison. And those of you who caught the podcast earlier on in the year when I was in Australia, those two were 2 of the team of 4 that went to the World Finals there. So it was great to catch up with those 2 again. And Again, Shane and Niall Lynch were encouraging youngsters to come and join in that programme. So a hugely spectacular event for the general public, and something I think that will go down as very, very successful. Then when I got to day 2, I decided to get out and about a little bit and talk to one or two of the people in the companies that surround the Angus beef industry in Ireland. So I'm still here at the ploughing match there, and I'm been with Angus Beef all day. Today we're on day 2 now, and I'm talking to Angus Beef Ireland, with a couple of fellas here that are in charge. And I said, just give me a name, fellas.
John Sullivan.
Eamon Tubman.
And the pair of you there, we're just asking what Angus Beef Ireland. Just give us a little bit of an overview of what Angus Beef Ireland does and what it represents.
Angus Beef Ireland, we are a certification body, and we are licensed by the Irish Aberdeen-angus Association to certify Angus beef on their behalf. Okay, we work with 4 processors. We work with Dawn Meats, we work with Foil Foods, we work with Liffey Meats, and we work with Ashburn as well. So our job is to check the Angus coming in and to make sure that they are suitable for the certified Angus beef. Now, to be eligible for the certified Angus, you have to, first of all, the animal has to be sired by a pedigree registered Aberdeen-angus bull. The animal has to have AA or AAX on its card. It has to come from a quality assured farm. In other words, there will be a quality assured farm. And the animal has to pass a visual inspection in the lairage.
Okay, and did you guys get involved in the inspection?
Well, we train the lairage personnel to actually look at the cattle and to check for the animals. Generally, they're black. They don't have to be all black because it depends on the breeding, but generally black, and they would be poles.
Okay.
They can have soft spur horns, but not solid horns.
Yeah. Okay. And you funded by are you self-funding through the society or the government?
The factories pay us. The processors pay us a fee for the animals that looking at certifying the animals that they want certified.
Okay.
So in the evening after the kill, the animals that they want, they decide they meet the spec and that they want certified, they will upload onto our system called certifyangus.com.
Right.
And they then go in, those animals are in the chill, and we go in and we take a sample of those animals, a DNA sample of them, a random sample of about 1 in 20 or 5% of those animals.
Okay.
Those tissue samples are sent to Weatherby's where they are analysed, and the breed, there's a breed fraction is analysed in them. So there have to be a minimum of 44% Angus.
Okay.
So they have to be that means they have to be sired by a pedigree registered bull for to meet that requirement.
Okay. And what was your role? What's your role within the organisation?
I work with them as in client services. I look after kind of members. Member benefits and stuff like that, contacting keeping members interested, engaged in what we do. We run a photo competition here every year at the Ploughing, so outside our tent here we have all our shortlisted entries.
Okay.
It's basically more in education and stuff, and we have a CBV report. We have an area on our portal that members can log in and they can look at their producer report. They can see how their animals perform, who performed above the national average and who performed below the national average.
And when you say members, we have numbers.
We've up on 10,000 members.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. And are you finding the show, is it worthwhile you being here, having Angus cattle here? Has that made a difference to you guys as well?
Yes, of course. Yeah, it does. Because it gives us a chance to show what we're doing, to meet our members, to talk to them, and to we can liaise with them and get a feedback from them as well.
Excellent. Well, it's great for you talking to me as well. It's great to hear what you're doing and keep it a good way. Nice to speak to you guys.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Chatting to Paul Nolan here from Dawn Meats, and tell us a little bit more about Dawn Meats and this association very much with Angus cattle.
Sure. Well, Dawn Meats is a family-owned business. It's around since 1980. We employ about 8,000 people, mainly between the UK and Ireland, and we export about 85% of the beef we produce, and that goes predominantly into the UK, continental Europe, and a small piece of trading around the rest of the world after that.
Okay, and you're primarily beef based?
We're beef and lamb, and we have quite a number of factories in Ireland and in the UK at production level, and we're very closely involved here with Angus Beef Ireland because a very important part of our market is Angus beef, and we've been working with the guys here for about 10-12 years now at this stage, and producing a very consistent product that is verified and assured to the customer.
Certainly, and I spoke to the Angus Beef Island earlier on today, and they're saying that they're expecting that 5% of the carcasses to come in, and they train your staff as well to inspect those too.
That is correct, yeah. And the great thing about our staff, I suppose, is that they are small in terms of turnover. So they build up a very good understanding of what's required, and they're basically doing the same thing week in, week out, under the guidership, I suppose, of Angus Beef Ireland, through particularly Donald Gilson, who would be a regular visit to the plants to make sure that everything is being carried out as we've agreed with the society in the first place.
Okay, and do you have your own specific customers, people that you go back to and nurture your same suppliers regularly?
Yeah, we have. First of all, I would say that 80% of our cattle come within 100 kilometres of our factories, and they are bought through a series of agents who work for us. So those agents know in their own small areas intimately all the farmers, what cattle they have, when they're going to be fit for slaughter. And in fact, those agents may regularly be asked to buy young cattle coming in to replace what's going out to the factory. So yeah, in that sense, we have a very intimate knowledge of our producers, including Angus producers, and we're able to work. We know what's coming in when, and we're able to guide and work that around the market requirements at the time.
Okay, Paul, and you mentioned, I'm UK based. You mentioned the UK side of it. You got facilities over there. So whereabouts?
So we're in Scotland. We're literally in Wales and in all over England, northern England, and down in the southwest.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have quite a spread.
Okay, and growing, still looking for more input coming in.
Yeah, well, I suppose in our business you can't afford to sit still, so we're always looking at opportunities, but obviously they have to make sense for the business model we have, which is predominantly about supplying, I suppose, the consumers of Europe through the major retail outlets and blue chip companies like McDonald's, for example.
Okay, and with regards to Europe there, which countries are we talking Western Europe here?
Yes, predominantly. So we'd be talking about France, we'd be talking about Germany, Holland, Sweden, Italy. They are the key ones, but of course we're in Spain, we're in Portugal, and once you go much west of kind of Germany and Italy, we're scarce on the ground.
Okay, and can we talk just briefly about USA and how we're seeing the trade war isn't the right word, but the trade's a change, should I say, with the USA? Is that something that concerns you? Are you involved in?
It certainly concerns the agri-industry in Ireland, particularly in the area of drinks, which of course is made with cereal, and dairy, which there is a big market in the US. And we already see what it's doing to the price of butter on the shelves in the US. On the beef scene, it's a little bit different in that up to about 2018, I think Ireland or Ireland particularly did not have a quota in America. Once that was agreed, we started business from Ireland at a very low level, but it really hasn't developed. So for a number of reasons, particularly because there is a quota for non-duty beef into America, and Brazil, through its sheer size, tends to gobble up about 98% of the quota in week one.
Okay.
So without that entry, we're not competitive. So in a funny way, it's the indirect causes from Trump's tariffs rather than any direct hit to the Irish beef industry.
Okay. Well, that's good to clear that up. There's a lot of people worried about those, and not many people understand that you're a man there with your finger on the pulse in that, and the industry in general.
Sure.
Yes, right. So, well, I say, Paul, thank you very much for taking the time to talk.
You're more than welcome.
It's great, and thank you for welcoming us here to Ireland as well.
We're delighted to have you, and I hope you're impressed with what the ploughing brings to, and see it. I think it reflects more than anything the relevance and the importance of the agricultural industry to rural Ireland.
Certainly. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I then went across to the other side and spoke to Charles Smith at the Irish Angus Cattle Society about a very interesting project that they had running to do with youngsters.
Yeah, so 12 years ago we were at this event here at the National Ploughing Championships, and we were assessing the value of what we were doing here. And we're looking at the people that were calling the season that, and we thought, we're here to buy cattle and all that kind of stuff, but we're also here to entertain families and to encourage the next generation to have an interest in it. And across all of Angus initiatives, there's a great desire to bring young people in, and young people are very much part of family farming here and showing animals and all that kind of thing. So from a perspective of producing animals for meat processing, maybe we thought there's a gap here. We need to encourage young people maybe to take an interest in actually producing cattle that are going to go forward for meat. On my family farm at home, myself and I have one brother. That's what started us out in farming. I was about 10, he was 7. Our father bought us 2 calves. I remember quite clearly the day that we bought the calves, and quite clearly going to the market to get them. And we learned an awful lot from having those calves. So we had a little bit of a budget, because we had to, when we sold the cattle, we hadn't a budget beforehand, but when we sold the cattle, we had a load of things, I don't remember what they were, that we wanted to buy, probably cassette tapes and all kinds of things like that. So we had to manage our little bit of money to stretch it out over a long period of time.
Okay.
So we learned a bit about business, and we learned a bit about farming, and we learned a bit about feeding them, and we learned a bit about looking after them, and we learned a bit about responsibility. So we thought, what better way to encourage young people and to expose them to the huge opportunities there are in not just farming, but across the businesses that are involved in that, across the whole agri business and agri-food business.
Okay, so this is 12 years ago now.
So we ran it out. We decided we'd run an ad with Shane in the Farmers Journal at the time, and encourage maybe youngsters to apply to a competition that we'd run for second level students. And we got about 50 entries, and we sat down and we said, how are we going to get these? So we said, let's meet them and interview them. So we met them and interviewed them, and we're astonished by the young people we met.
And from farming background, most of them?
From farming background, all of them in the first year.
Yeah, okay.
So we selected 5 that we thought were the best, and we brought them to the National Ploughing Championships the following year.
Right.
And we displayed them as a more primitive form of what we're doing here now today. We displayed them, and the interest just grew from there, and it's been phenomenal growth in interest across schools that are from farming backgrounds, non-farming backgrounds, city schools, people looking to find out about it, nutrition, not the nutrition of the animals, but the nutrition of eating meat. We had one school from the very centre of Dublin in Rathmines, St. Louis Rathmines, 3 young women who were coming out of school every day, seen a sign up outside their school, dairy takes babies away from their mothers, didn't understand what that meant, and looked into our competition to find out, and ended up visiting a meat processing plant, understanding everything from the birth of the animals right through to their processing, and going away ambassadors for Irish farming in the centre of Dublin City.
Phenomenal.
So every year it's been growing, every year there's been more interest. The standard of the students is improving. We have students in here today looking at things like plastic and the uses of plastic within meat packaging, and have developed their own prototype of a film that's made from seaweed that could possibly be used, that's fully biodegradable.
Yeah.
So when you take into account that these students are only 15 or 16 years old, and they have this initiative and these ideas, and then they follow them through, it's phenomenal.
Right, brilliant. And you have animals here, you've got finalists here with the animals here.
Yeah, so the group we have here today, 188 schools applied this time last year.
Wow.
They went through a rigorous process of selection. We've narrowed it down to 5. Those 5 are here to collect their prize, which is 5 Angus calves for each group. They will follow those calves through for the next 18 months, finishing in March of 2027, and one of them will be crowned the overall winner at an event in Croke Park in our national stadium.
In Croke Park, wow, it's incredible. And you'll follow those soon, and then will they get the proceeds for that?
They get the full proceeds, so that's their prize now.
Yeah.
They take those calves home. They obviously have a little bit of cost in bringing them on now for the next year to 18 months to have them finished. Then they sell them back to one of the processors, and the animals are processed and go through our certification into our retail partner Tesco.
Charles, you must be very proud of that. How do you measure the success that you're having, maybe on the impact that you're having on the farming industry?
I don't know how we measure it. I suppose maybe by the people that are coming that have taken part, and the diaspora of young people we have. Even in the beginning of this week, I was getting texts from Canada, the United States, from the UK, from Australia, New Zealand, from past participants that have taken part in it, and how much it meant to them, and wishing us good luck in this one. Yeah. And we have many of the young people that took part in the competition now coming back and joining our processor partners, or other processors, both dairy and beef processors, as graduates in their graduate program to further move on their career. They've obviously chosen to follow a food or science or agricultural science choices in college. Yes, we're very proud of it, but I suppose you feel that the children or these young people, they're the real ones that deserve the credit here.
Yeah.
Because the amount of initiative and the initiative of the teachers in getting up, this is extra work for a teacher, and so many teachers have embraced this and gone on to develop their students and help their students to achieve something outside of just the classroom learning. And it's been hugely helpful in helping those students to excel in their studies, but in a way that they are a lot more satisfied. One of the last things I'd say about it is, when I was at school, I wasn't very good at school. I wasn't very good at football or sports. I wasn't very interested in them to start off with. There was nothing for me to celebrate. So for young people like me, who were maybe from a farming background, who their passion was farming and agriculture, there was never a day in the school where I was called out in assembly or where I was given a rosette or a prize or whatever. And there's some of these students that are like that. And to give them the opportunity to be able to go back and celebrate after today as the heroes within their school, bringing home this prize, is phenomenal. And I think that by doing that for agriculture, we levitate agriculture to a higher level, particularly within some of the non-agriculturally focused schools.
Fantastic, and how very rewarding it is for you. Charles, thanks very much for your time there.
Thank you.
I've come back round to chatting to Ewen again. We're going to dissect those few days that we had there, Ewen. The dust has settled, and I did say on one of the recordings that after you'd finished judging, we'd go for a drink, and we did that, didn't we? But how are you doing now?
Yeah, I think we've just about sobered up and straightened up, and it was a fantastic event, the whole thing, wasn't it? The evening afterwards, I mean, they looked after us like kings, didn't they? It was great fun, and really enjoyed it.
They always do, and anybody there wanting to visit that event or any of the other Angus events that go on in Ireland there, I can highly recommend the hospitality from that crew there. They do make you very welcome, as you said. And Ewan, we got a little bit of a look around the show on the second day there. Geez, what some event that was.
Oh, it's epic, isn't it? I've never seen anything like it. You know, that when we stood up in yon sort of knoll and you were looking north, south, east, west, and you know, it was almost as far as your eyes could see in each direction, wasn't it? I've never seen anything like it.
And trade stand and agricultural. I mean, they were saying it's not quite so agricultural as it used to be, somebody said, but Chris, it's a hell of a lot more agricultural than the Highland Show and the Three Counties and the ones that I frequent anyway. There's a lot of something there for every farmer, wasn't there?
Definitely. I mean, if you were wanting to spend a bit of money, there was endless amount of things to look at, wasn't there? You know, from sheep equipment, cattle equipment. It seemed to be a big thing about selling sports gear for kids. I don't know if you noticed some of the sports stands and the queues. I mean, there was hundreds of kids queuing outside them. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of shows around the world could take a lesson to learn from them. Maybe some of our, with it being too political here, some of our shows that maybe next year should take a run over to that and just have a look and learn how it's done. Anyway, we'll move on for that because I'll get hate mail coming in. The cattle themselves, you and I spoke to you briefly after the show there, but again, when you get round to dissecting it, I'd been to one of those events before. I knew the quality of the cattle there. I think you were a bit blown away by the quality, weren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when you think back, some of these classes, 10, 12, 13 cattle in them, and, the beasts away down 6th, 7th, 8th in the class could just as easily, I think probably some of them have been winning it at other shows, so, yeah, really, really impressed by the quality of the cattle and the type of them as well. They're fleshy, muscly, breedy, hard-working kind of cattle. Yeah, really, really impressed.
And a bit of character. I spoke to Richard Retty and he said just that, a lot of traditional character of the lugs and the sparkle about them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, think about the champions, and when you're seeing bigger cows, older cows, gliding round the ring with a nice calf beside them, and they've got power and they've got femininity and, working hard. Yeah, what's not to like,
Indeed, indeed. And it wasn't just the show, because you and I took an extra day there. Well, I couldn't get home because France was on strike, as France's tend to do. So I
Yeah.
took I came along with you, and you and I went to visit a couple of herds out and about, and we saw quality of cattle there that were equally the quality of that show, and that kind of shows the depths of quality of cattle that are across the board in Ireland. And we started off with going, well, Niall Lynch very kindly showed us around, and Michael O'Leary's Giggingstown herds. Some set up that one as well.
It was pretty impressive, wasn't it? I think I said to you, when I grow up, I want a farm like that, But no, and some of the stock bulls that we saw, gee whiz, they were just exceptional, and at both places. I don't know, I could certainly be doing with something like that over here. Some of them, they were really, really impressed with them, yeah.
And those that don't realise that Michael O'Leary is in cattle very much in a big way, as well as in his horses, and of course flying his airplanes at Ryanair. But the herd at Giggingstown been going, did Niall say best part of 30 years? I think they've been there, and been some good stock come from there. I mean, there was a bull Giggingstown Rolls Royce that's quite famous, done a lot of breeding, and Niall Lynch, of course, is one of your pals at the YDP. We'll talk about that in a minute. But and he was. He was out to make his mark a little bit. Now he's there full time to make his mark, to improve them. But they didn't need a lot of improving, did they? Some great cows, a great herd of good commercial cattle, weren't they?
Yeah, exactly. And, good middle of the road cows, as I would call them. We saw the same at the McEnroes as well, real good middle of the road cattle, bred to work off grass. And, well, I don't know if you're going to mention it or not, but these heifers that Niles bought yonder, I was really taken with them, as you know. So, yeah, both these herds are, for me, going absolutely in the right direction,
And the cattle that suit your own side. And we'll just mention John McEnroe. John and Leo have been on this podcast recently with their last sale, and Leo's got another sale coming up shortly with his red cattle there. But we got to, Sean showed us around the 100 Angus cows that they're at Liss, at John and Sean McEnroe's, and level isn't the right word. I mean, they were peas in a pod, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, well, when we went into the field yonder, you could have picked out a handful of cows that would be just as good as what you had at the show. Likewise on their calves as well. Yeah, just lovely middle of the road feminine cows again, and working really hard on off grass, calves not getting any creep. Cattle that are going to make you money, aren't they?
Yeah, and that brings us around to yourself, really. I just wanted a bit of a post-show chat, really. You and I had a chat of the evening about your recent successes, and I mentioned a lot of this on the microphone, the loudspeaker, the commentary to the crowd around there, but I didn't really get a chance to record much of that for a podcast. I just wanted to come back to you and talk a little bit about your Kilmally herd there in Fort William, and similar type of cattle, similar type of ideal from what you say, your middle of the road cattle, but need to work.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, the herd was built up when I was working for SRUC as their farm manager. So I wasn't, you're not at home a lot of the time, and the cows had to be easy care and kind of look after themselves because I just wasn't there. So, easy calving, easy kept, hard working kind of cattle. We're just crofters. We don't have a lot of money. So, they had to clean their face. There was no choice in it. And I suppose if, we have had a bit of success recently, and if that success hadn't come when it did, we would be asking hard questions about whether it was viable to keep doing what we were. But we got lucky, and think things are going in the right direction.
Well, I'll just ask you about that success in a second. But just before that, then, the one thing that you did stipulate when we gave you the microphone, when you were out there judging those cattle there at the All Ireland show, that you wanted cattle that would function on your type of ground, and your type of ground you farm just at the foot of Ben Nevis there. It's not quite the land of milk and honey there, is it?
Yeah, that would be an understatement. I mean, we're getting 80 to 90 inches of rain a year. We can't grow crop because you would never get weather to harvest it. Maybe manage to make hay once every 4 or 5 years because the rest of the time it's too wet. But we can grow grass. And the cattle are outside all winter. We're at sea level, so it's not too cold, but we do get a lot of wind and rain. So the cows are outside, standing in the wind and rain. So we need cattle that can look after themselves with a bit of skin on them, and can keep their condition. And they've been doing that for a long time. And the ones that haven't dealt with the conditions have been culled. So we've ended up with a herd of fairly fleshy, easy kept cows, and you know, I think that's pretty important for breeding bulls to put out to folk, you know.
And it's an interesting trend, isn't it? And mine's not to stipulate on this. Different people have different animals to suit their area. Different people want different animals worldwide, and you know, through the UK and through Ireland. But it does seem to be a little bit of a trend now. If you look at the likes of Willie McLaren, for instance, just bringing those cattle down a little bit, getting a bit easier fleshed, and Colin Davidson as well. I've had on here talking a similar thing. You're down a similar line, and as you said, success. I know you got a bull away to Wedley, and Wedley will have that same ideal, I suppose, that animals need to look after themselves and just be a bit easier fleshed. And tell us a little bit about that bull and the other bull that you sold.
Yeah, so they started off with the Juggernaut in 2022, and he was out of the line that's been here right from the start. My Uncle Donald bought the first Doonside cow, Judith Erica, the second of Doonside, back in 1983, and that line's been here ever since. And he was doing AI, his own AI all along. I do my own AI as well, and he was using the best bulls. And you know, when you can't afford to buy in, you've just got to keep working away and keep breeding them and keep breeding them. And we were knocking at the door, getting seconds and thirds at the calf shows, and taking an odd bull to Stirling, and really struggling to sell them because nobody knows you. And Juggernaut came along and won male champion and reserve overall at the Winter National. And then he did the same at Stars, and he did the same at the Bonanza. And the Ors came and made me a really good offer for him. And I knew that he was a good home it was a good home for him to go to. And they took him out the next year, and he was, I think he was junior male champion at the Highland, and then he was overall at the Summer National. Wow. And I'm looking forward to, hopefully they're going to bring some of his calves out this year, because I was at their place a few weeks ago, and he's doing the job there. So that was a start. And then last year we had a couple of calves out of Christina's. There was Khaleesi, who did more or less the same as Juggernaut. He won a lot he was reserve overall at Winter National, and then I think he was the same at Stars. And then Davy Johnson and Susan came in and made me an offer for him to go to Ballindalach, so he's up there now. And Colby was the other one, and he's out for Christina as well, off my new stock bull, who's Fordale bull, who's big figures, but he's also my type of bull as well. You know, he's got a lot going for him. And that was the one that we got 12,000 for at Carlisle from Wedderley. So yeah, it's when you hit a sweet spot, it's really good fun. I'm not going to deny it.
It is, and you mentioned the finance. Of course, we're all after that, but it is the nice feeling when they go to good homes, and you'll see good stock. They're going to get some good cows that says the cows that they deserve, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. I went to Wedderley there again just to see where they're at, and yeah, these cows there should suit that Colby bull down to the ground. And likewise, the Khaleesi bull, I think, these Christinas, that was the first sort of cow that I really bought for myself. The other, I got a couple from my uncle as well. But the original Christina was an embryo that came from Youngdale, and she was a big cow. She would easily be a ton in her working clothes. And what was amazing about her was, for her size, she popped out, I think, 12 calves in 13 years or something like that, and never greedy, but she looked after herself. She wasn't a bully, just a fantastic cow to have about the place. And since then we've kind of dropped the size of them down a wee bit, but that kind of hard working thing is going to hopefully go out to these herds and do what they're looking for it to do.
Excellent. And I know you showed me a couple of pictures. You've got a couple of calves going to the shows again this time, so we'll see you out and about there. And you, as well as your cattle herd there, you've diversified. People like to hear about diversification. There on the croft there, you've diversified a little bit there. Tell us a little bit about where else you've gone just out with agriculture.
Yeah, so I mean, as I say, we're crofters here. We're actually living in the same house that my family's been in for about 220 years when the crofting thing more or less started. So obviously you've only got 12 acres that we own. We rent another wee farm across the river. But when we moved in here 3 years ago, we decided that pods were the way to go, and we're very lucky that we've got a fantastically scenic area around about us. The pods look right onto Ben Nevis, and so they're just about finished their first full year, and without doubt the best thing that we've ever done. The June, July, August, September full up, and the rest of the year there's 50% occupancy or more. So yeah, been just amazing.
How many pods did you put in?
We've put 3 in.
Okay. And that's something takes a bit of planning, takes a bit of work, and what have you, takes a bit of financial investment as well. But I mean, it has to be done on the farms now, doesn't it? It's another income stream, and your wife was there in the background. I'm sure she gets involved in running that side of it as well. Not being sexist here, but it seems to be very much a common theme in agriculture. You having run the college farm there again, it'd be something that you would have looked at diversification in all directions.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, both of us, raising our kids, we were doing, quite high stress things. Elaine was a teacher, line managing quite a big department, and that was very stressful. And my job in the college, I loved it, but it was an hour's commute. So running back and forth it wasn't every day; it was 3 days a week. But that 12-hour day, and then you're still trying to do the stuff at home, which was fine when my dad and my uncle, they both helped me for a start, but they both passed away over the last sort of 10-12 years. So it was kind of just down to myself. So we both kind of looked at what the options were, and these pods have sort of allowed us both to give up what we were doing, and between them and the farm, we've now got quite a viable business set up.
Okay, that's excellent to hear, or great to hear. Maybe give us a shout out where they can find them online. They go on. Might as well do a bit of advertising while we're here on, while you've got your voice piece going.
Yeah, so it's Croft 72 pods. You'll get them online if you put in Croft 72 pods. They're there.
There we go. Excellent, and up there in Fort William there with the beautiful views over Ben Nevis. Well, I look forward to maybe pop up there myself at some stage.
Excellent. Yeah, glad to see you. Aye, yeah.
We're just going to move on a little bit to your other hat that you wear, and I mentioned just now with Niall Lynch and yourself, and you're chairman of the youth development scheme. And I won't go on too much about this because I'm coming to your youth development finals in a couple of weeks, and we'll definitely have a yarn about it then. But just a quick overview how you ended up getting to the chair of such a great organisation, a little bit about what it does.
By getting my arm twisted, I think. Yeah, no. Went on council. I'm just about finished my term on council, and last year for the I think it was last year past February, they put me onto the chair of the YDP, and yeah, it's been a privilege. What they are doing to get kids interested in stock, and the opportunities that you get from it. I don't know if people realise that the winner of the senior final gets a bursary to travel, more or less travel the world. It's a fantastic opportunity, and even for the if you're getting to the finals, for the younger kids and the intermediates and the juniors, you're winning cattle blowers, clippers. There's all sorts of incentives to take part. As well as those that just want to go along and learn, more about cattle and how to work with them.
Might even get themselves an Angus history book this time in their package as well. You and I'm going to look forward to seeing you. It's in a few weeks' time now. As I said, I'll be doing a podcast from there as well, and one or two other things for you that you've asked me to do. But look forward to doing that. But it's an absolute pleasure to meet you this weekend, and I think both of us learnt a lot being there in Ireland, and we saw some great stock and had some good crack.
Definitely. It's certainly a week I'll not forget for a very long time. It was the best of crack, the best of stock, and just an amazing event, wasn't it? And yeah, had a royal time. Thanks very much. I really enjoyed it.
Phenomenal. Well, thanks, Ewan, for your time.
All the best. Cheers.
That concludes that great visit to the Irish ploughing match this week, and I highly recommend folks make a trip over to that in future years there. So thanks for listening to this week's episode. And once again, I'd like to thank Shane Murphy and the crew there at the Irish Aberdeen-angus Association for inviting me over there and looking after us so well. And as always, we'd like to shout out and thanks to our sponsors, Harbro, for their continued support with the Top Lines and Tails podcast. And you all know about the quality products that Harbro supplies. And as we're going into autumn now, have you thought about how to boost the fertility in your flock, for instance? The Harbro Harbrough's got you covered on that one now, as they've got offers on available on their feet and fertility lick buckets. And there's some great science that goes behind those buckets, and a great story about how nutrition at the point of conception can influence lambs and the rest of their life. So there's a whole load of products in there from Harbrough there. Please get in and have a look and see how they can help your business. Pop down to your local store or speak to your representative nearby, or look out Harbrough on the internet. And while you're there on the internet, just dive into our Top Lines and Tails community page on Facebook, and you'll find information, some pictures from Ireland this week, and various other things that'll back up this and previous podcasts.